Our first plenary session, the title is ChatGPT as a boundary object between in-school and out-of-school mathematical practices, the case of numeracy practices. The session is presented by Emeritus Professor Dr. Murad Zurda. So currently, Professor Murad Zurda is Emeritus Professor in the Department of Education after serving 50 years at AUB. His research interests include the social and political dimensions of mathematics and problem solving in school mathematics. He has authored 4 scholarly books, all published by Springer, and have published numerous journal articles in leading mathematics education journals, along with chapters in scholarly books. Since 1980, he has actively participated and contributed to almost all international Congress on Mathematics Education ICME conferences. He has led mathematics education development projects in Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, and Sudan, and has served as a consultant to Arab governments and international organizations. Recently, he has developed an interest in the role of ChatGPT in mathematics education. Thank you, Dr. Zurda, for accepting to be our plenary speaker, and we are honored that you are presenting and initiating this conference by having the first plenary session presented by you. It's an honor that I'm moderating your session, and hopefully others will engage in this session in an active way. Go ahead, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody. Before we start in this presentation, I would like to say a few words about the background of this presentation. The area of bridging the gap between in-school and out-of-school mathematical practices has been one area, my research, and I have done many publications on this, including books and journal articles. And the second point is that the coming of ChatGPT is a significant step in the development of this area because of its capabilities, particularly of its capability, conversational capability. So that's why I'm interested in ChatGPT in this and its benefits from on this area. This presentation is based on my recent research on that subject. Before I started, I'd like to see that, as you can see the title, there are a few keywords in it. Of course, ChatGPT, boundary objects, in school, mathematical practices, out of school, mathematical practices. Now, before I go on, I would try to explain and exemplify what I mean by in-school mathematical practices and out-school mathematical practices. First, as buyers, we all do buy things. We buy things that we need. And when we need something, we go to a shop and just get select the item we want, and then go to the register, pay for it, and the change will be delivered. And in most cases, no word is spoken. The machine will do the calculation, and both the buyer and the shop are satisfied and with this, and this is how it happens. This is a mathematical practice because it involves mathematical processes like subtraction in calculating the change. It's also in the Lebanese context, it has the mathematical processes of changing from dollar to Lebanese pound. So there are mathematical processes going. This is a situation in out of school. Now let's look at the same situation in school. In school, this comes as a word problem in a textbook. And the student has no choice. The teacher is telling the student to do this problem. It is written, it is in language. And the student does the, the student does not value the numbers as their value in real life. They value them as numbers. They don't have any value beyond the academic situation. And the student has to write the solution and put the operations and calculate. And the student doesn't care about the answer, because only he cares that it's correct, because this will satisfy the teacher. It doesn't. It is not important for him the answer. I mean, and that's it. So the first one is an out-school mathematical practice. The second one is the same context, the same example, an in-school mathematical practice. Now, these differences are not new. I mean, for a long time, students, teachers, researchers, parents, the public observed the clear differences between mathematical practices in school and mathematical practices outside the school. These can be summarized as follows. In school mathematics practices, they are driven by school curricula or teacher-imposed requirements, whereas out-of-school mathematics practices driven by individual needs and real-life events. In school mathematics practices, motivation for engaging in school mathematics is extrinsic. Mathematical engagement in real life and out of school tends to be intrinsic. Discourse around mathematical practices follows structured routines in school. Discourse around mathematical practices is more fluid and negotiated. Now, there are two capabilities of ChatGPT relevant to our topic today. And these two capabilities, I asked ChatGPT, what are your capabilities in the area in this area? And it gave me a list, and I chose the two most important capabilities. The first capability is conversational capabilities. This is taken from Chat GPT response to my question. These are designed to, what Chat GPT claims, are designed to engage users in natural, coherent, and contextually relevant dialogue. And this may facilitate the interaction between these different practice environments. So it talks, it converses, it dialogues with human beings. That's one capability. And the second capability is contextualization. These are designed to connect mathematical concepts and skills learned in the classroom to real-world situations and practices that students encounter outside of school. So this is what Chat GPT says about its capabilities in this area. Now, in numeracy, there's a tendency today that is called numeracy as a social practice. By the way, numeracy is the mathematical corresponding ability to literacy in language. So numeracy and literacy are the two corresponding things in mathematics and in language. Numeracy as a social practice, it says what people do with numeracy through social interaction in a specific context. This is the social practice, as a social practice. The traditional numeracy is mathematical skills taught in school context in isolation from real world. So what the students who do in school, learn in school, are not are decontextualized from what happens really in school. Numeracy as a social practice, therefore, highlights the needs for establishing stronger connections between in-school numeracy practices and out-school numeracy practices. The purposes of my presentation: first, exploring whether ChatGPT satisfies the theoretical criteria of cultural historical activity theory, CHAT, to function as a boundary object connecting school-based and out-of-school mathematical practices. So this is the theoretical side. So I'm going to cover both the theoretical basis and give an example, detailed example, as an empirical basis. Using numerical practices as a case study, I examine chatbot's potential to function as a boundary object. In the design, we'll define what we mean by boundary object, in the design of lesson plans that effectively integrate in-school and out-school numeracy practices. Now, the theory that I'm going to use is called cultural historical activity theory, CHAT. And CHAT was introduced by Vygotsky through the concept of cultural mediation, late 19th century. Cultural mediation extended the understanding of learning from a simple stimulus-response connection to more complex mediated actions. And these mediated actions are cultural. And so learning is mediated by cultural aspects. This is the first theoretical basis for CHAT. The second generation was advanced by Leontev. These are all Russians people who shifted the focus from individual activity to collective activity by incorporating the division of labor as an essential component of collective activity. Engstrom further developed this theory by introducing the concept of activity system, in which individuals or groups engage in activities to achieve a common objectives within a community. So now I'll try to explain theoretically what to contrast in school and out school activity system. The school itself is an activity system. It's in A, and out school is activity system in B. Look at this activity system in A, which is the school. We have a triangle, a smaller triangle within a larger triangle. The smaller triangle consists of a subject, students trying to learn object within a community of the school, students and school workers. Now, this learning is embedded in a larger learning triangle, which the students will be using mediating artifacts to reach their goal. But these artifacts are material, like the board, the computer, and symbolic, like language and mathematics. And this learning in the class involves division of labor, because in the school, because we have mainly division of labor between teacher and students themselves, and it is constrained also by the rules, and the rules of the schools come from the policies of the government and the social norms of the community. So this is how this is the activity system of Angstrom that describes the school activity. The other one is an activity system for outside of school. The inner triangle is subjects. They are individuals. They are not students. So they are individuals. They are not to learn. Their objective is life-driven. Their activities are life-driven. And they do it in a community which much wider and different from the community of the school, the family, and peers. And this embedded in using mediating artifacts, and this include all the symbolic and material artifacts, but you add to it also human beings. You can ask human beings about these things. You can interact with others. Now, the social rules apply also. The division of labor is between family and groups. So these are the two activity systems, and you see they are different in many ways. The students in school, they have to navigate. There's a cultural divide between in-school and out-school systems, activity system, and the students are to navigate this cultural divide. School-based practices differ from out-school practices due to the distinct yet interconnected activity system. These two systems, the school system, in-school system, and the outside system, are not separate. They are interconnected because the students are making the journey daily from one system to the other. Children must navigate the cultural divide between these two contexts. ChatGPT has the potential to serve as a boundary object, facilitating students' transitions between these two activity systems and enabling them to engage with out-of-school practices within the framework of school mathematics. So now we define what we mean by boundary object. Boundary, it means it lies on the boundary of these two activity systems. These two activity systems are, there's a cultural line that you have to cross from one to another. So the boundary object is a object to help us transit from one system to the other. Starr and Geisinger introduced the concept of boundary objects to explain how artifacts can serve as bridges between different practices. Boundary objects operate across multiple intersecting worlds and are adaptable to the local requirements of each. They are adaptable to these systems, although different, they are adaptable to both. This adaptability allows them to bridge practices between these two worlds. An example of boundary objects, there are many examples. For example, language itself is a boundary object. It's used outside the school, inside the school. Inside the school is in a different way than outside the school. Another object, for example, coming from the school is journal writing. When teachers encourage students to write journal writings about their problem-solving experiences outside schools, these journals become boundary objects. They span both the school and the real world context. ChatGPT as a boundary object in school and outside school mathematics, it depends on ChatGPT's conversational features. This is very important. And this is probably unique to ChatGPT or to the artificial intelligence. Enhance its potential to serve as a boundary object between school mathematics and out-of-school mathematics because it can engage in dialogue with users in a natural language, coherent, and contextually relevant manner. It follows what the two speakers are saying, and the responses is the same as two human beings are talking to each other, are engaging in a conversation. These features include the ability to understand and maintain the context of conversation, to provide relevant responses based on prior interaction, and second, generate human-like responses that are grammatically correct and semantically meaningful. Use this capability, it has a capability called generate, and it allows the user to respond to, it allows the system, ChatGPT, to respond to users' follow-up unlimited prompts, thus engaging the user in a human-like dialogue. ChatGPT, something is about numeracy practices. I have I'll explain what numeracy practice is. Numeracy provides an example of how ChatGPT can help bridge the gap between school and out of school. The numeracy used in this example highlights the distinctions between the school mathematics curriculum and the skills needed to handle numeracy demands beyond the classroom. I chose numeracy practices related to spatial reasoning to demonstrate how mathematics teachers can leverage ChatGPT through negotiated dialogue to develop a grade 5 lesson plan that connects in-school and out-school numeracy practices. So the example is about, I am the teacher. I'm asking, I'm conversing with ChatGPT to produce an appropriate lesson plan for spatial reasoning numeracy skill, and within, so now let me formally define what we mean by numeracy practices. Street and et al. In 2005 have defined this in four components. Content of numeracy practice refers to the mathematical dimension of numeracy practice and reflects an autonomous view of numeracy. This is the kind of numeracy that we assume that it's like the mathematical skills as mathematical skills. The context involved the framing of occasions. In what context we are doing it, the numeracy is practiced, and the purposes for using the mathematics. As you can see, the purpose for using the examples I gave in the real world and in school were different. These depend on the individuals engaged in their numeracy practices. So it's not universal. Values and beliefs. Individuals' beliefs about the nature of numeracy and the values that drive their practices. The individuals, in the case of school, our students have values and beliefs. They value certain things about, and they have certain beliefs about, as individuals, about numeracy and its practice. The last one is the last one is social and institutional relationship. It's important. This is the kind, the institution in this case is the school. And this dimension deals with types of control over content, management of context, and invocation of values and ideology exercised by different institutions and roles. So this is a matter of how much control the school has, and this is revealed in the forms of disciplines applied to discourse, language, turn-taking, etc. I started with a conversation with ChatGPT, and I'm going to select snapshots from our conversation. I'm using the same words that took place. In the first I asked ChatGPT to generate a detailed script of a scenario-based learning using interactive learning for teaching a lesson on social practice numeracy using real-world context related to spatial reasoning for students having grade level of mathematics knowledge. The response of ChatGPT gave me the plan, but the objective of the plan gave me this like this. This scenario-based learning lesson is to engage grade 5 students in developing their spatial reasoning skills through real-world context related to social practice and numeracy. By immersing students in interactive learning experiences, the lesson aims to enhance the understanding of spatial concepts and how they relate to everyday scenarios. I'll give you a minute or two to think, the teachers among you, to think of this response. It says, immersing students in interactive learning experiences. For me, that was too general. It didn't help me in any way. As if it's repeating what I told the system. So I used the generate facility and I asked ChatGPT too many activities. Regenerate using only one activity. It responded, okay, it's better than before. It says this will be done through real world context of designing a neighborhood. Well, take a minute also to think about this. We are talking about grade 5 students. So he had suggested a task, in real world context of designing a neighborhood. That also seemed to be too general and beyond the mathematical activities of. I told that system, this is not within grade 5 students' scope of experience. Regenerate accordingly. And again, the system regenerated the response by saying now it is a real world context of designing a playground instead of a neighborhood. If you think about it, it's still wide, general, and definitely beyond students, grade 5 students' mathematical knowledge. So again, I asked, use a context other designing. I felt that it was focusing on designing, and I wanted to shift from this. And the response was, yes, by immersing students into this learning, the lesson aims to enhance their understanding of social through, in practical, within the scope, through the real of navigating emails. It's close. Or navigating emails can be given in words or be written on a paper, and it can be done in school. So it seems it was started to be promising. Specify, I told specify the maze, regenerate. And it specified that it generated a lesson plan. This scenario learning is to engage grade students in developing their spatial reasoning skills through the real world of finding a treasure hunt to find hidden treasures marked on the map. Now it is manageable. The teacher can design a lesson, and the ChatGPT gave details of the lesson, the activities, etc. I'm just giving here the objectives that this is the lesson plan. It looks like any good traditional lesson school in a school context. Divide the students into small groups. Distribute printed maps of the fictional island or provide access to digital map simulations. Explain the task. Each group will embark on a treasure hunt to find hidden treasures marked on the map. Provide each group with clue cards containing spatial instructions. Walk 5 steps north, etc. Encourage students to work together to solve the clues and navigate through the island to find the treasures. Emphasize the importance of considering spatial relationships such as direction, distance, etc. Circulate once a group finds, etc. Allow ample time for groups to discuss and facilitate the discussion. So this is a lesson that can be done in school. It has some elements from out-school practice because the same task can be given out. It simulates something that can do it really actively. So it has some elements of out-school brought into in-school. Now, I started to manipulate my request to ChatGPT because I want to manipulate the organization of the class and see if ChatGPT is responsive to this. So I introduced mixed ability groups. I wanted the ChatGPT to generate the same lesson, but using mixed ability groups. The ChatGPT responded and put in red the things that are relevant to mixed ability groups. Divide the students into small groups, ensuring each group has a mix of abilities. Assigning appropriate maps to each group based on their ability. This is ChatGPT talking. And distribute clue cards with special instruction tailored to different difficulty levels. Offer additional support materials such as visual aids or simplified, etc. Encourage students to take on different roles within their groups. This was not there in lesson 1, such as navigator, clue solver, etc. Allow ample time for groups to explore the island and find the treasure, adjusting the difficulty level of clues or providing additional support needed. Well, I went further. I wanted to ask ChatGPT to provide a lesson plan where we have mixed ability group, and I add to it student-centered learning. So student-centered learning is added to mixed ability, and the changes that were due to student-centered learning are in blue. These are the things that were changed by ChatGPT, allowing students to choose a map that suits their confidence level. Now, students have choice. Encouraging students to select clues that challenge but do not overwhelm them. Again, students have choice. Allowing students to seek assistance from peers. This were not allowed before. Encourage students to take different roles within the groups based on their strength and interests. And facilitate student-led discussion within groups. That's also new. So the manipulation, my manipulation of the lesson I want by giving this instruction to see whether ChatGPT is responsive to this and produce a lesson plan that follows these things. As a summary of this experience, in lesson 2, the teacher constructed ChatGPT to incorporate mixed ability student grouping into the lesson plan 1. This facilitated the alignment of lesson 1 with the out of school practices highlighted in red, where learning shifted from more localized approach through mixed grouping. Within these groups, classroom discussion became more collaborative and negotiated. In lesson 3, where I added student-centered learning, the focus shifted, allowing students to independently select both the activity and their approach to it, and more dialogue, and students were given greater autonomy. So this is what happened in this experience of trying to seek the help of ChatGPT to discuss the lesson on numeracy, social numeracy related to spatial reasoning. Using the 4-dimensional numeracy practices framework developed by Street, we assess its role as a boundary object in bridging the gap between school and out-of-school practices using the 4 components that I mentioned before. Content, I'm asking the question, in what way does ChatGPT impact the content, the context, and the values and beliefs, and the social and institutional relations? Impact on the content. I think there's no impact on the content. The mathematics is the same. The content does not impact the mathematical dimension of numeracy. So the impact of it is minimal, the same like in any traditional. The context dimension of the framework involves the framing of occasions and practice purposes for you. These depend on the individual engaged in their numeracy practices. Now, it is clear from our example that as demonstrated in the dialogue, the teacher can adjust the context and purposes in which numeracy is enacted, enabling the creation of numeracy practices aligned with specific goals. ChatGPT's conversational and contextualization abilities through dialogical interaction are instrumental in generating it. So in this context, in this dimension of context, ChatGPT has an impact in terms enabling the teacher to adjust the purpose and lesson itself and get some information, some advice on how to go about it. Impact on values and beliefs. Values and beliefs refer to decisions on the numeracy skills and concepts individuals engage depending on their beliefs and concepts about the nature of numeracy and on the values that drive their practices. It is look at the teacher, actual teacher in a class. The teacher knows the students, knows what more or less what their values, their background, etc., their beliefs, because the teacher has spent a lot of time with them. So he can feel the beliefs, what there are beliefs, what they value in numeracy when teaching numeracy, and what they value in this. In this case, ChatGPT appears to play a limited role in capturing the values and beliefs dimension. This is a very important point because this is a big limitation of ChatGPT. This limitation stems from the intrinsic nature of this component, that is the social numeracy, and ChatB is limited capacity to fully understand and represent individual values and beliefs. So the system cannot, till now, represent, understand, or represent values of individuals and beliefs. Impact on the dimension of social institution relations. The social and institutional relations refers to the kinds of control over content, management of context, and invoking of values and ideology exercised by the students and institution. This is revealed in the kinds of discipline exercised over discourse, language, turn-taking, and we feel that ChatGPT has a significant impact on this dimension. It enables the role of the teacher to manipulate and control content, to manage and manipulate context, to invoke values and ideology exercised by the school, and this revealed in the ability of teacher to manipulate ChatGPT to generate the desired disciplines over discourse, language, and assigning rules to students, while keeping some elements that in the lesson that belong to the out-of-school practices. Concluding remarks, summary. In summary, using cultural historical activity theory and the concept of boundary object, this presentation highlights ChatGPT potential as a tool for bridging the gap between school-based and out-of-school practices. ChatGPT role as a boundary object was most impactful in the social and institutional relations components of the numeracy practices framework, and weakest in the values and belief component. Let's go to the limitation. We talked a lot about the potential of ChatGPT in teaching and learning mathematics. First limitation, ChatGPT remains a developing. It's changing daily. Black boxed. We don't know what's happening inside it. The algorithms that it is developing black box project whose trustworthiness relies on the vast textual data used in the training. Textual data, all data, textual data on the internet at a certain time. So this is a limitation that its trustworthiness depends on many factors. And sometimes it gives very stupid, makes some stupid errors even in solving elementary problems. But on the other hand, it can solve very complicated mathematical problems like mathematicians. The educational quality of its output depends significantly on how human users engage with it in education settings. So its value to education is not in the capabilities of ChatGPT, which exceeds any individual capabilities, but in how human users, we as human, engage with it in educational settings. There are two ways of using ChatGPT. One is to source as a source of direct answers. It yields rote learning. For example, in this case, if we stopped we gave the ChatGPT to do the lesson plan, and we stopped when it gave us the first lesson. That's a direct answer. Or if a student is using it and giving a problem, it gives the solution. The student takes the solution and accepts it as it is. So when it is solely used as a source of direct answer, it yields only rote learning. It doesn't have any educational value. On the other hand, when users interact with ChatGPT as their logical negotiation tool, it's a negotiation tool. It's not giving knowledge from ChatGPT to the human user. Through the facility of generate. This is dialogical means engaging in a dialogue. It promotes a dialogue similar to Socratic dialogue. Remember Socratic dialogue, when Socratic dialogue tried an illiterate boy to solve a mathematical problem by bringing out the knowledge from him by questioning, in which the teacher assumes the role of Socrates, guiding the exchange, while ChatGPT plays the role of illiterate boy. It has all the knowledge, but it has to be brought out by the teacher, throwing out and defining its knowledge through Socratic questioning. So this is educationally, I think the general advice is not to use it to get answers. It is to use it to engage with it in a dialogue and have a partnership through interaction, with dialogue, until you get what you are seeking for. So what you get is not a product of ChatGPT. It's not the product of the human. It is something, a product that was produced by both, by the interaction of both. ChatGPT cannot replace a human teacher because it does not have the facility to adjust autonomously to the socio-cultural interaction of an actual classroom. Till now, there is no way artificial intelligence can understand and represent social cultural interaction like a teacher. A teacher can adjust and can has a sense to all these social cultural interactions in actual room, which are not, but it can be superior to any human in the mathematical side of it, but not in the social cultural side of it. Take a moment to read this. To make machines intelligent, we need to teach them to see, hear, touch, taste, and smell the world, just like human. In fact, human intelligence depends on these. This is where we get our knowledge as humans. It's by seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. And thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jourda. It was very thoughtful and engaging sessions. So I would like, now it's the time for asking questions. Let us organize it in a way, because we are relatively speaking a large number of participants. So please, you have to raise your hand so that I can give you the floor in an organized way, and we are able to hear each other. So if you have questions or comments, please raise your hand.
My hand is risen.
Okay, Niraz, go ahead. Sorry,
Niraz, hi. But if it is possible, can we see the last slide? The slide before we teach the machine how to smell and eat?
I think the whole thing, the whole presentation will be on SMEC's website, isn't it?
Yeah, we are doing the recording, and we will put the recorded session for a period of time so that people can access. But maybe Niraz, can I?
Okay, this is the one. Yes. Yes.
I can't see anything yet.
Yeah. Wait, one second.
Yes, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I saw. Anybody else? Are there other questions? Okay. I myself have a question. I'm a person who uses. Okay. Let me give the floor to others. Zahra, go ahead. Do you have a question?
No, thank you. It was mistaken.
Okay. Iman, you have a question?
Is that me, Iman Usta?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for a very enlightening session, Dr. Jirda, and thank you to AUB Department of Education and SMAC unit for this very interesting yearly event. My question is about the social aspects and values, and about the values and belief session component. Your manipulation showed that there is a little impact of ChatGPT about this component. But as we know, as we hear, that ChatGPT is a self-learning tool, and it learns from previous questions, experiences, and answers. It may also localize the places, the social context from which the people asking it questions are. So do you think that this aspect might improve with time while ChatGPT is connecting or associating the questions and topics asked about to the places, the countries, the societies from which people are asking their questions?
Well, I think it can. It is a potential, but now we are far from it. I mean, just look at a teacher in a classroom and their student. The teacher knows a lot about students, their relations, what they are, and where coming, and where the school and its context. And there's no way now, I think, for an artificial intelligence to understand the complex relations, social, cultural relations in a situation, and look at it, view it from the perspective like the teacher. I think we are heading towards that, hopefully. Just as reported, machines have to teach. We have to teach machines how to feel, see, hear, and these senses that made the human intelligence.
Thank you.
Thank you, Iman. Khachik, you raised your hand. You have a question?
Yes, I do. Thank you so much, Dr. Jirda. I'm happy for your presentation. My question was about your conclusion about whether ChatGPT or AI can replace teachers or not. So my question is inspired by a book by Neil Selwyn, and the title of the book is Should Robots Replace Teachers? So my question is whether we should ask if they can or they should. So what if they can?
I believe now they can't, and I believe they shouldn't, because we shouldn't give control of our education to machines.
Thank you.
My point in this whole discussion is it is very useful and very powerful, but it should be used as a dialogical tool, an interaction between humans and the system. And the way you interact, this determines the output and its use and its benefit for education. It's not the abilities of the system. The abilities we know are vast and they exceed any human capabilities in many ways. But it's not we are talking about the AI as separate. I'm talking about the interaction of AI with humans. And this, the educational benefit and value of it comes from a dialogue with the ChatGPT, treating it as if it is a human being. It has a lot of knowledge, but you determine what knowledge and what form and what way this knowledge can be obtained.
Iman Salman, you raised your hand. Go ahead, please. Iman, we are not hearing you.
Hello. Anna, I wanted to say that I loved how Dr. Jirda ended up his lecture. It sums up everything. The students are human. They need a human teacher. Thank you so much. I said that, as he said, we might use ChatGPT for performance tasks or Heke for sometimes, but not to replace a real teacher. Thank you so much. I enjoyed.
Okay.
Dr. Jirda, Anna, I have a question. Could you tell us more about the value of having conversations with ChatGPT, whether a teacher AI conversation or whether a student AI conversation, which I think this is becoming more and more frequent and it will evolve in the coming very near future. So can you, in our private and individual discussions, you highlighted the value of posing questions as a skill. So can you elaborate on this?
Yeah, I think there is an opportunity for education in general to use ChatGPT to develop the ability of students to pose questions. In our systems, we don't have anything to do with developing posing questions. Students are supposed to answer questions, but not to pose questions. The difference is huge. As citizens, as adults, nobody asks us questions. We ask questions. We have to be able to ask the question, and we have to be able to ask the question that expresses what we want as an answer. So just using it as using ChatGPT as a medium where you ask, and the student, for example, put the problem, solution is given. Okay, it's like, but the student does not. He reads the solution probably without understanding why the solution was like this. Why? What are the steps? ChatGPT is able to give you all of this if you ask. If you ask, just solve the problem. It solves the problem without any explanation, and this is rote learning. It's the machine and any technology could be as rote as any learning we have in actual class.
Thank you, Dr. Jourda. Anybody would like to ask one further question before we close the session? Thank you, Dr. Jourda, for this very rich session. I enjoyed listening to you. I learned about the main topic of your session, and I liked how you interacted with AI and ChatGPT to come up with various versions of the lesson plan via conversation. And so on behalf of SMEC, I would like to thank you for your input to the conference and for having the first plenary session with us. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you, SMEC. Thank you, all the audience. And I know there are some colleagues and students, my students among you. I salute you and thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hope to see you in the other session.